family. Praying that you're doing good, that God is continuing to keep you as He is keeping me. Happy Sunday to you. Praying that you are enjoying this day. We are on our first Sunday of October. Can you believe it? We are in the fall season and we are moving forward with a couple of months left in this year. We've seen some things this year, but one thing we know for sure, our God still sits on the throne and He still sees and takes care of everything. So I want to start off with a praise break moment. This praise break moment is special for me as just in a few days, my wife, should God allow it, and myself will be celebrating 30 years of marriage. 30 years. I reflect back on October 7th, 1995, uh, 23 and 24 years of age, 30 years. My parents in their marriage, although they had been together much longer, only saw 26 years of marriage. To be blessed to see 30 is a great thing, and it's a praise break within itself. But one thing I want to shout you with that'll shout me is that love survives all seasons. That's my shout. You look back on our marriage and 30 years, there's been a lot of ups and downs, peaks and valleys, smiles and tears, wins and losses. There have been births and there have been burials. I wish I had a great lesson to teach on marriage, but the lesson is seasons change. Yeah, you can be riding high in summer, enjoying the breeze, and then all of a sudden, fall comes. You can be enjoying the beauty of all the flowers and the foliage and the colors. Winter comes. It's cold. You can be enjoying the snow and the fireplace, and all of a sudden it's spring again. There's rain, and the rain brings forth growth. Every season, things live and die. But one thing that shouts me about these 30 years that I give God praise for is that love has survived all seasons. Huh. You don't want to miss your shout on that. Love survives all seasons. And it's just I call marriage a roller coaster ride. Sometimes you got your hands up, sometimes you're cheering, and sometimes it's horror. But the blessing of it is, I know who I'm riding with. I know she's worth riding with. I believe she believes I'm worth riding with. And we ride all seasons. And we have survived. That is a shout. And I wonder, can you say the same? Maybe you haven't had 30 years. Maybe you're in your first year. Maybe you're just courting. Well, it's important that when God gives you who He gives you, that you know that this person is not going to get out the ride, not going to get out through sickness, not going to get out through pain, not going to get out through trial or trouble, not going to get out through debt, but it's going to stay in the ride. So I'm grateful. 30 years. I wish that God would give 30 more. Pray that so. You pray that with me. But I'm grateful for today. Sometimes we just need to thank God for what He's done just now. And so to reach 30 is a blessing. To reach 31 will be more of a blessing, but the same praise and the same survival of all seasons. That woman I married, Moisa Griffin Moore, still worth riding with. And I pray she believes the same about me. Pretty sure she does. That's all I got for your praise break. If you have your Bible, open it up to 2 Samuel chapter 3, starting at verse 22. There is a word there that I just need to accent today. And if you see where I'm located, it might give you a little hint to it. But I'm praying that this word is for somebody this week and that you carry it on with you. So let me get it on the screen for you so that you have it. 2 Samuel chapter 3, beginning at the 22nd verse, you will find these words. But just after David had sent Abner away in safety, Joab and some of David's troops returned from a raid, bringing much plunder with them. When Joab arrived, he was told that Abner had just been there visiting the king and had been sent away in safety. Joab rushed to the king and demanded, "What have you done? What do you mean by letting Abner get away? You know perfectly well that he came to spy on you and to find out everything you're doing." Joab then left David and sent messengers to catch up with Abner, asking him to return. They found him at the well of Sirah and brought him back, though David knew nothing about it. Verse 27. When Abner arrived back at Hebron, Joab took him aside at the gateway as if to speak with him privately. But then he stabbed Abner in the stomach and killed him in revenge for killing his brother Asahel. When David heard about it, he declared, "I vow by the Lord that I and my kingdom are forever innocent of this crime against Abner, son of Ner. Joab and his family are the guilty ones. May the family of Joab be cursed in every generation with a man who has open sores or leprosy, or who walks on crutches, or dies by the sword, or begs for food." So Joab and his brother Abishai killed Abner because Abner had killed their brother Asahel at the battle of Gibeon. That is God's word for God's people, and shall stand even after time is no more. For a few moments, I want to talk to you with this subject: safe breakers and locksmiths. Safe breakers and locksmiths. And if I could warm you up with anything about what we're going to talk about today, I'd tell you this: that the enemy wants to crack your safety barrier. And if he can, he'll do it to take what is inside of you or your very life. What's inside of you are the goods, and it's valuable. The question I want to help you with today is, how do we stop this heist? So imagine, if you will, or remember, if you will, all of the movies that there were safe breakers working in. Mission Impossible, Ocean's 11, Italian Job. There is always this one guy on the team that is skilled with cracking safes. He or she wears the earpiece and, they press it up against the safe and they listen for the clicks that help guide the combination, and then they hear it and then they turn the knob until boom, the safe opens and they can steal all that is inside. Now, family, imagine that safe as you. And outside of you are those who have studied you and at all costs want to see you depleted, pillaged, and plundered of all the resources that are inside of you. They want you empty, worthless, and even dead. Because without anything inside of you, you have no life. These safe breakers are from the enemy, and they are after you. And today I just want to guide and advise you on how to see them, know them, and protect your goods. The life of Abner and Joab today in the Bible, in this story, will help us today. Let's talk about Abner. Looking at the text, Abner was a commander of the Israelite army and King Saul's cousin, and son of Ner and grandson of Abiel, Saul's grandfather, which shows us his connection to the king and his leadership. He was a brave warrior, but also a skilled strategist in Saul's army. They won many victories, battle after battle, because of Abner. Abner is actually the one who had brought a young David to Saul. Later, when Saul sought to kill David and he had to be on the run, he was being protected. David was being protected by Abner. And while Saul was being protected, Saul was being protected by Abner, he fell asleep. And David got next to the king and could have killed him, but instead took his spear and water jug to show the king that he can be gotten to. David eventually reprimanded Abner for his failure to do his job. There was a split when David became king and Abner served Ishbosheth, Saul's son, as king in the north. But in the south, the tribe of Judah belonged to David. Soon there was a clash between the two, and Abner and Ishbosheth and David and his leader of his army's commanders named Asahel. In this confrontation, Abner was forced to kill Asahel with a spear in self-defense. Asahel was the brother of Joab, captain of David's army, and also the brother of Abishai. Let's look at Joab, captain of David's army. At times unpredictable, at times vindictive, can either be hot or cold. Soon after Ishbosheth's clear defeat and some issues, Abner decided to align with David and served him as an advisor. And David valued him with helping to unite all the tribes. But Joab didn't like that. And here are the troubles. Your change of what's in your safe will not stop those trying to pick you. The devil doesn't care that you have changed. He always remembers you. Says, I know you. I know who you are at your core. I know where you've been and I know what you've done. This is often why we can't seem sometimes to escape our past, because there's always somebody who remembers what you've done. There's somebody always who remembers where you used to be. And the devil loves to use who you used to be against you to pick your safe. Joab wanted Abner dead for killing his brother. And Joab and his brother Abishai asked Abner to come to him in Hebron, which is said to be a city of refuge. That's why he was sent there. David sent him there to protect him. But Joab sent for him to come to a meeting about a political subject, which was a lie. And Joab, as he got close to him, when Abner arrived, stabbed him under his fifth rib on his side in retaliation for killing his brother, which went against David's wishes. And David was offered, because David had offered safety. The safe was broken under David's watch. So David then put a curse on Joab and his family because of his treachery. Be careful if you're the safe breaker. You see, we can be both safe breakers and the safe. Joab was both. Abner was both. Yes, we can be the one who steals the contents of people, and we can be the one with the value inside of us that someone wants empty and ended. This is deep, but not really. I would like to say that I have never sought revenge on someone before, but I have. And therefore, I work to get them a place where vengeance was upon me to do. I said vengeance was mine when we know that vengeance belongs to God. But sometimes we just want to pick the lock ourselves. Joab and Abner was like most of us, make mistakes, had past, and someone was trying to pick both of them because the enemy has no favorites. He'll pick you if you're serving God, and he'll pick you if you're not. Try to do good, but every now and then this I need to pick this lock and get back some stuff that I think belongs to me, like my peace from my refuge or items that pacify my eyes, but do nothing for my soul. We often pick things that we shouldn't be picking. We want it, so we break in and we take it from people, places, and things. Yeah, we can be both. We can be the lock picker, but we're also the safe because there are contents within us that are valuable. And if we're not careful, just like in this story, we can find ourselves on one side or the other. So I'm not going to keep you long. Here are your keys on how to watch for safecrackers, even if they are you. How do you watch for safecrackers, even if they are you? 3 ways, and I bid you good day. First, listen for the lies. Yeah, listen for the lies. Joab wanted Abner dead. So Abner had to know who he was listening to. Listen for the lies. Because the lie will make you look invaluable to others. And that's because they're the ones that want to pick you. Yeah, Joab wanted Abner. So he lied to him to get him to come closer or come back from his refuge. He lied to him. See, there are people who will lie to you just because they want to pick you. People who will lie to you, who will try to trick you into coming down their way. Yeah, there are people who will figure out what's inside of you and trick you into going back to a place you left. Yeah, Abner, of course, must have forgotten who he was talking to, did not realizing that this is Joab and that in your past you did something wrong this man and he may be looking to pick you. Sometimes we think all is good, even with our friends or family, after we've said sorry for something. But oftentimes it's never the case. People forgive, but they don't forget. And so in this case, Joab has never forgotten the loss of his brother. Imagine, can you put yourself in either person's shoe? The person who's listening to the lies and the person who's doing the lying. Just so I can get you to where I want you. Just so that I can pick the lock the way that I want to pick it. I'll tell you something that may be enticing to you to get you to where I want you to be. Listen for the lies. We've got to know who we're talking to. We've got to remember where we are. Listen for the lies of the enemy. The enemy wants to pick you. And oftentimes he'll use things that he knows about you to pick you. He'll use things that you may feel about yourself to pick you. He'll use the inadequacies that you have to pick you. He'll use those things to get you to come and to go backwards in a place where you've not been before. He'll use depression to make you use vices again. Yeah, any way he can draw you back. But family, my first point to you is we've got to listen for the lies. Yeah, the one who's trying to make you come back from where you already had refuge, in the place that you've already went, the steps that you've made in your life, the person that's trying to get you to come backwards. is a liar. You've come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in his every word, and he's never failed you yet. Can't turn around. You've come this far by faith. Keep your eyes ahead. Listen for the lies. Second thing is, watch for the bait. Watch for the bait. The bait is always come to my territory. Yeah, they want you on their territory. Be careful where you either stay at or go back to. Be careful, because if they can get you on their territory, that's where they can harm you. Yeah, Abner was safe when he was in the city of refuge. But the moment he left that refuge, coming back toward Joab, he was no longer safe. Family, watch for the bait. The bait will always be those things that make you want to come back to where you've been. I remember a young man when I was growing up named Reggie. Uh, this story is compelling to me because it taught me something. As I remember it said by his mother, grandmother, or someone mentioned the story. I don't know how it got around, but it came around that we were having a party at a roller rink that was local to our city, and everybody was going. I remember that Reggie had ran with some gangs, and actually he wasn't really a gangster, his brother was. And so as they got ready to go to the skating rink, the story's told, and I wasn't there, but this is what we heard, is that his grandmother looked out the window and told him that he should not go. I guess Reggie looked back and said, I'll be all right, and he went anyway. Well, that night, Reggie was shot. Guess they meant it for his brother, but they killed Reggie. Be careful when you get off of the territory. Watch for the bait. God is the type of God that gives you a way of escape. He will always tell us to watch for the bait. Abner should have known that the only way I'm leaving this refuge is if the person who put me here tells me to come back. Since David didn't say it, I'm not going nowhere. Where you have made it to in your life, God has placed you there. I'm not listening to nobody but him to tell me to remove or to step back from where I am. I'm going to stay where he says stay, and I'm going to go where he says go. But you've got to watch for the bait. Third thing, and I'm almost to a close, is you've got to look for the knife. Yeah, let's just say you do accidentally leave a place of safety and you find yourself on the enemy's territory. Know that while you're on that territory, a knife is coming. Weapons against you will be used. But if you can watch for the knife, you can engage in battle and possibly protect your life. Abner let his guard down. Family, every day we have to walk about this world. We have to leave maybe the safety of a certain dwelling. But oh, when we've got our head on a swivel and we're ready to fight. Yeah, I don't leave and we don't go on a trip without praying for every bit of the vehicle or the airplane or the train or whatever I'm riding in, because I know I have to be prepared for battle. And on the enemy's territory, family, the shout that I got for you is that even when you're on their territory, you still have the power to overtake the attacks that they come at you. But you've got to be alert. This is why in the word it tells us to be alert, for our enemy prowls around like a roaring lion seeking who he can devour. We've got to be alert. That means looking for the knife. We look for the knife. That's why we don't got to be afraid when we go out in certain places, because we need to be able to be prepared to engage in battle. Now, I don't know what that means for anybody, it can mean a few things to be ready for battle. But ultimately, God is my covering. So he gives me the ability to win in battle. So when we pray over our vehicle to get on the road, it doesn't guarantee that it won't be in an accident. But what it might guarantee, that if it's not God's time to call me, I'm walking away from it. My family's going to be safe. The plane's going to be all right. Look for the knife. Because Abner wasn't alert, Joab was able to get him close, pull him in, and while he was whispering in his ear, stabbed him right in his side to murder him. But I wish I had that to close with, because that isn't a shout. That's just a safe picker. Some jobs are only made for the locksmith. And I'll close with the locksmith, and it'll shout you. See, there's a difference between a safe picker and a locksmith. So I need to introduce you to the other half of this equation. A safe picker does his work usually illegally and in the dark to rob, pillage, and plunder. But a locksmith has the authority to work in the light or in the dark. And he operates under the authority because he is licensed to do what he does. I want to help you. He operates under authority, and it's for the good of the person who needs it. When you get locked out or shut out, you don't need a safe picker. You need a locksmith. When you have lost the keys to things that should be open to you, the locksmith is trained to get you back in. I feel my shout coming. Well, I know one that came down from 42 generations to open a door to heaven that all humanity got locked out of at the Garden of Eden. And while the devil is picking on what's in you, he is the one who has picked a way to open it up for you because he had the keys. The locksmith shouts me. Now the locksmith is on me, and the locksmith is in me. And I just want to ask, are there anybody who are understudies of a locksmith, who knows that there is one who has given me the keys to unlock some things? You don't got to worry about trying to crack things open illegally or do it on your own the way the enemy does. The locksmith has all authority to open up doors, to open up safes, to open up those things that are necessary, and to keep things locked away. It's the locksmith who can change locks too. Yeah, and I need to know that sometimes when the enemy has picked you clean, it's good to know that when God starts restoring into you, there is one who can come along and change the lock combination. Ah, some of our shout is that God has allowed many of us to change the combination that the enemy don't know no more. He used to have a combination that besets you, but now there's a combination that he cannot pick because you have been changed. That's a shout for somebody. Let me close with this story, and I'll shout you to a good night or good evening. I remember a time that I was in my grandmother's vehicle. It was senior ditch day, and of course, I didn't tell her what day it was, but I wanted her to use her car, and she let me. Well, we were all out at a beach in Michigan City, Indiana, and I got out of her car and locked the door, leaving the keys inside. I'm talking about someone who is an understudy of someone who knows how to be a locksmith. Well, I had locked the keys in the car. Well, we didn't have AAA back then, or if we did, we couldn't afford it. So I could either call her and get her insurance, which would mean that they send me a locksmith, which she would have to pay for, or find one locally in order to get it done. And I didn't want to call her. Well, unfortunately, I had no way to get my keys, didn't know what I was going to do, and I was just about getting ready to get to a payphone and make my call to her when my homeboy, who happened to be a car enthusiast, said, "Hold up, Joe. I got you." You see, he had studied under a locksmith, and he realized that for my grandmother's car, hiring a locksmith was not necessary because he knew exactly what the locksmith might have known. That if you pulled down the window slightly, it would come down just enough for her car. It had a manufacturer flaw in it that allowed the window to come down slightly and bow out but not break. So this is what he did. He bowed it out. It did not break. He grabbed the lock, opened the door, and then he put the window back. You're almost with me on this, but I'll need you to be there with me. I'm taking you back a long ways, but I need you to be there with me on this. That studying under someone who knows how to get you in and how to get you out will pay off in the end. Yeah, the fact that he knew something that would save us. He knew something that would make a way when there wasn't one. The fact that he knew exactly the design, make, model of the vehicle and knew how to get me into it tells me something about the ability of someone who studied under a locksmith. So let's fast forward. About 12 years later, I'm at church. And ironically, something similar, reminiscent, happens to someone who happens to be riding in the same make and style of car that my grandmother had. She's on the church grounds and locked her keys in the car, and they are just about getting ready to call AAA. And what did I remember? I remembered that somebody who studied under a locksmith had showed me, and I ultimately studied under a locksmith, and I did what we all should do when we study under a locksmith, that is, help someone else who is locked out and looks like us when we were locked out, and I went to her car, showed her the same move that was showed to me, and she was able to open the door. Ah, that is your shout. All we've got to do is show somebody else the same move that somebody showed us how to get into glory. There is one who showed us how to open up the gates of heaven, and that's just by accepting him as our Lord and Savior. And so I've learned under a locksmith how to show folk how to open up their life, let God in, and be able to ride with him a little longer, to be able to ride with him the rest of their life. And when this life is over, the keys to heaven is theirs. For free. This is for free. It didn't cost this lady nothing because getting in didn't cost me nothing. Somebody had showed me before. Jesus showed us all at Calvary that he is the great locksmith. The doors that he's opened. And I don't want to just leave it to heaven. The doors he's opened into your life. He says the doors that he opened, no man can close. And the doors that he closes, no man can open. That sounds like locksmith stuff to me. So your shout today is that while we're worried about the safe crackers and the safe pickers, it's good to know that for every time they picked us, there is a locksmith available to you, available to humanity, that can change the locks, that can open the doors, that can put back contents that was stolen, change the lock again so that the devil don't try to pick it again. Didn't happen for Abner, but Abner's mistakes, we can learn from them. Or maybe we can learn from Joab. Look what happened to the rest of the life of Joab. His ability to not obey David cost him and his family lineage. Now he's out of stuff. You see, both of these men in this Bible are examples of who we can be. We can be those seeking revenge, and we can be those who are unknowingly walking into a den walking out of safety when all we had to do was pay attention to the signs. Know that we do have a past and know what ground we're safe on and what grounds we're not. Family, that's all I got for you today. Safe pickers, locksmiths. May we know the difference, and may we always know that even if we're a safe picker doing it illegally, we can get certified under him, serve under him, learn under him, and become locksmiths. That's a specialist with abilities and certification to do what he do and open doors. May God allow you all to open some doors that you've not been able to open. And may he change some locks so that your enemies cannot enter. That's my prayer for you this week. God bless you real good. Know that I love you and there's nothing you can do about it.